What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Apocalypse Movies. I am Jake Berlin. Obviously, if you follow us, you know that by now. And by the title of this video, you can see that this is part 2 of our official spoiler discussion of Avengers Endgame. No, this isn't just going to be a one-time deal for two-parters. We're actually probably going to start doing this for all of the big movies that come out because we just love talking about them. And we're going to take a little bit of a different approach to the second part of the discussions. But for today, for the beginning of this, we're actually going to dive a little bit into some normal discussion because I am joined by 3 of my fellow members here. I got Gio, Brian, and Keith. Gio and Keith have not been able to talk about it on camera yet or via audio. And so they're going to dive into a little bit in the beginning of this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about some questions and maybe some theories towards the end, take a different approach to it. So we have talked a little bit. I know that we all separated the night of the movie because it was later. Obviously, it's a 3-hour movie, so it was a little bit later. But, Gio and Keith, just kind of go out of your initial thoughts. Maybe don't dive into too much. Save it for a little bit of the discussions afterwards. But just like immediate reactions, stuff that you really enjoyed that you like maybe weren't expecting, or the best reaction you had to the movie. Just kind of get a little bit for like 10, 15 minutes. I want to hear your guys' thoughts a little bit. So,
you know what's great is I'm glad that we're both here because you and I are sitting together.
That's right. That's right. Yes, and we were on the other side of the theater.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Jake and I sat next to each other and you guys.
Yeah, I mean, the tickets were all, I could only get them in groups, and the way it worked out is Gio had 3 guys with him, and you went solo, so I was like, it's perfect partnering.
Yeah.
So I wanted to hear I want to hear your guys' reactions and kind of what you guys thought of it.
What do you want to start?
I mean, throughout the movie, I kept leaning over to Keith, and I was just like, "This is great. This is amazing. I can't believe they did this."
I would have loved to have seen that because of how much you crap on Marvel in the past and our feud between DC and Marvel.
I gotta tell like it is sometimes, and I will give credit where credit's due. And for this movie, it's all credit. It's all credit.
Well, you came out of theater and you bowed down. You bowed down. You did. You go. Zack Snyder could never make a movie like that.
And it's true. Zack Snyder cannot make a movie like that. There would need to be a clone of another Zack Snyder so they could make
alternate timeline.
Yeah, alternate timeline Zack Snyder. There you go. An Oscar-winning Zack Snyder.
But I mean. So that saying, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Well, how this MCU started on a high note and how it's able to end on such a high note. I mean, my God, you just, when I try to compare these movies, I said it earlier, it's Days of Future Past on steroids meets, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. It's that same kind of pace there. Cool. It takes off running. It doesn't waste any time. I mean, my gosh, spoilers, right?
Yeah, full spoiler discussion. Yeah, it'll be in the title.
The first, 15, 20 minutes, Thanos dies. They waste no time.
He went for the head.
Killing it.
He shot.
He went for the head.
Arm and head.
You leaned to me the first 3 minutes with Hawkeye and his family.
Yes.
That was awful.
Yes.
Before
the logo even popped
up.
Right, yeah. That was the opening scene.
I was already...
No, they're starting here?
Yeah, exactly. I took my kids to see it Saturday. My daughter was like, oh my God.
Side note, real quick, his older daughter is Joe Russo's daughter.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So cool. Because you know how he cameos in all his movies?
Yeah.
So now he's kind of bringing his daughter
awesome.
in. Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, the older, so the one that was with Renner.
Also, the kids that were trying to get the picture, I was wondering whose kids those were. Because all 3 of those kids look alike.
They do.
So I was wondering whose kids those are. Those are somebody's kids. But
anyway. Was it, real quick, was the third, the younger boy, was his name Nathaniel?
Yes.
Because I wanted to tie into Age of Ultron, but I didn't hear it, so I wanted to make sure. Okay, just checking.
So she was like, how's little
Nat? And she goes, Nathaniel.
She's a he. Or Nathaniel, yeah. So that's him.
She's like, traitor.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
But yeah, right when that happened, Thor, cuts his head off, which shocked us all, of course.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't see that coming.
You leaned to me and said, all right, the end.
That's it.
Yeah, because it's like, what?
Pull up the credits. Like
what the hell is this? What is this
It's
movie
like
about?
those memes. It's like those memes that always have the credits afterwards.
Yeah, that's it. It's like in a Vice. Remember when the credits roll in the middle of?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh my God,
it's
Vice.
like that.
That was so funny.
that was.
They could have done that. Like,
because
you get the feeling, obviously, like that could have been the end of Infinity War.
Yeah, 100%.
It may have been.
But what's cool is that they wanted to make sure people knew it was a continuation, so they probably threw that at the end.
I think so, yeah.
And that impact, I mean, that impact may have had a little bit of a different impact, but it wouldn't have been as big as the impact with Infinity War.
Yeah.
Because Thanos won,
Won.
and he wouldn't have won. Oh, I guess he kind of would have won, but he would have died at the end of Infinity War
And it
instead
just
of
would have
having
been
that.
just,
Exactly.
what do we do? And
Exactly.
It would have been the next-
Right.
It would have been a giant WTF and like a sobbing instead.
Yeah.
Because we were all sobbing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, from there, it's just how the movie takes its time. A lot of people saw this as a negative, but how it just slows down, and then you focus on the Avengers themselves as individuals and how they're taking this. You know? It's
There's a lot of character study.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's scary because of how big this movie was.
Yeah.
You don't see that in a lot of these movies.
And I love
ever.
it. I mean, you think about Cap and how in Winter Soldier he was attending those meetings, for the soldiers, the veterans, and now he's doing it himself.
Yeah.
I
love that.
That was really for humans.
Well, that and we haven't talked about it all on this channel is Tony when he came back in the wheelchair.
Oh yeah.
How affected he was.
Dude, that scene was chilling.
That is
and the way he
way Robert Downey Jr. played that first of all. But the fact that the Russos were like, do this. I want you to do this.
Watching it again, I'm not sure if that wasn't CG.
Oh no, he didn't lose all that. That's all CG.
Yeah,
okay,
I 100% believe it.
yeah,
No,
that's
there's no way. There's no way Robert
literally-
Downey Jr. at his age could do that.
Yeah.
There's
Maybe
no way.
2009.
I was going to
Yeah.
say there was a time when he looked like
Christian
that.
Bale did that
Bale
in
was
one, but he was much younger.
Nearly killed him.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, exactly. So but that was definitely CG.
Yeah,
But it
okay.
made it. But it was real. It was realistic, very, very well.
Because you got a sense, obviously knowing his history, his past, and all the demons he's fought, he's probably had moments like that with people.
Yes.
With people that he cared about or close to him. And so you could see that in that performance. And it was chilling. Like
When he slaps the bowl.
Yeah.
When he says he tells Cap run and hide.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's
so real.
that was the first time we saw Iron Man like, yeah, I'm done. I can't do this.
Oh, it was
afraid and
Yes.
like I don't know. I'm done.
Yeah.
We were way out of our.
It was
our
definitely no
depth.
warm welcome.
Right.
It was pretty much you said we would die or lose
Together.
We did not.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot
weren't
of
there.
a lot of comic book movies would, the famous phrase of fan service. They would, the moment we see Cap and Tony together, it would do the, oh my God, I'm good. It's so glad to see you. Like it'd be a big moment, right? The first moment they saw each other, Tony wanted nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with him. That is so realistic.
Basically 5 years after that.
Yeah,
too.
it was so realistic. The relationships and the character study that the Russos did with these guys. And I'm not gonna even argue the fact that it may have been a lot with the actors and actresses because of how long they've been playing these characters.
Sure.
Of maybe the input they had or whatever it is. Because I wouldn't be surprised if the Russos are like, look, you guys are directing this movie just as much as we are. Like you have been in this universe and these characters as long as we have, and so I wouldn't be surprised to say that they gave these guys all the ability in the world to do whatever they wanted with them.
Yeah, give them free reign to just what you do with great actors. You let them. Filmmaking, obviously, we all know it's collaboration. And you let your actors, you let your actors go a little bit if you trust them, you trust each other. And like you said, they've been working together long enough.
Yeah, they have that chemistry.
They have the chemistry. They've got the trust, and and the characters, like you said, they've been playing these characters for so long. They know what they're doing. So.
Well, what do you guys think about everything else going to happen in the movie? The middle, the end. I mean, the gigantic battle. I mean,
the middle, and maybe it's because I've only seen this movie once, and it's been about a week now since
you and I have only seen it once. They've seen it twice. Keith and Jake have seen it twice.
The middle kind of gets a little confusing for me because it's like the more thought I give it, the more my head hurts because it's how
there's a lot going on.
How they're able to do the time travel so much, and then go back even further. It's like, what are the rules about this? Doing this time travel and how it affects.
I have a feeling
I'm
that,
just
and
like,
I don't know how they explained it, but I have a feeling that time travel worked in a way it connected to your thoughts. Did anybody else get that feeling?
They said it was dimensional.
So is it what you're thinking?
No.
I don't.
So there's one pure timeline, and if you change one event.
No. I'm saying how they can go back. Like, is the watch that takes them back with the Pym particles? Is it connected to what you're thinking? Like, do you have to think of the time?
No, because they had the watch was a GPS.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it
that's
told
all right. Okay,
told
that's
them when,
Remember, because
where
they'd
to go.
always
Okay.
sync your watch.
Okay,
And then
cool.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So they were it was like a physical like get off of this exit, type of thing.
Yeah.
And-
Which I love the way that was done.
Right.
Yeah.
Like how it kind of the helmets guided them to where they were supposed to go.
Yeah, I
That
like
was
how they
really
shot through the tunnels and
Right.
then, like,
really
right.
cool.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
pretty
the best part, for me, and I don't want to jump ahead quite yet, but the ancient one, and that might be my.
She
Dude,
was-
she was fighting in New
Jake
York.
lost
That
his mind when
made
he
it-
saw her fighting.
Yeah,
She was
me too.
fighting in New York.
I was, oh my god! I'd heard that she was on set, but by the time we were watching the movie,
You thought it would have been something like Doctor Strange or something,
Right.
Like
I just
not
wasn't
literally fighting during the Avengers.
I wasn't even
Right.
thinking of it. As soon as I saw her, I flipped. I was like, oh my god, that's right. And yeah, fighting off Chitauri and the way she explained
The timeline.
That just,
You love that. Brian
I-
absolutely loved that.
Oh, my God,
That
me
was
too.
my biggest concern coming into this movie was that we were going to get timeline stuff and it was going to muddle things and it was going to make things confusing and not understanding, but they literally
She
showed
broke it
you
down.
a diagram
Right.
and broke it. The verbal listeners got it, the visual learners got it, everyone
The characters
understood
got it.
The
Banner got it.
Banner at first was like, what? And then he goes, oh.
Yeah, that was the thing.
how she like plucked everything.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, now it makes sense and then that helped me figure out Steve going back in
Just
time.
like you said, yeah,
Yeah.
you going back into the past. That's now your present.
The past is now your present, and your present is
So
now your
you're-
past.
right.
Exactly.
So it doesn't necessarily affect whatever you do. Doesn't necessarily affect what happened.
Yeah, and he
the
said,
timeline
if
you
he
came
said,
from.
he said, going back to the past doesn't change your future,
Right.
which is why Steve was able to go back.
And this movie, it's full. It's Back to the Future too. Like the way they explain it, because Doc did the same thing. in Back to
And
the
what?
Future, too,
And that's
explained it.
incredible. Like
When
that
they-
is the
that's
best.
great. That's what
when
I
they
love.
nodded all those timeline
That was
movies,
hilarious.
I
That was so funny.
Paul Rudd goes, Die Hard. Oh wait, that's
No, wait, no.
Yeah. I love when they go Hot Tub Time Machine. I
Oh,
was like,
such a
even-
good
Yeah.
reference.
They even
So
reference
because that
that.
movie is
Sebastian Stan is in.
yes, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't even
yeah,
think
yeah,
about
He
that.
plays
Yeah.
the
Hilarious.
dickhead, the ski
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot all about
Yeah.
that.
You know what I think about those movies? Because like, remember Cap's notebook with Star Wars on it. and
Yeah.
Stuff? I think that in that universe, they're just different actors. Like Mace Windu it's not Samuel Jackson.
Yeah.
It's someone else. Like,
Yeah.
Morgan Freeman.
Well,
yeah.
because
Yeah,
well,
right.
and a lot of people question.
Yeah.
A lot of people question like they go, Peter Parker loves Star Wars so much. Why doesn't he realize that Nick Fury is Sam or Mace Windu? Like,
Yeah.
so maybe he
It's
is someone else in that
It's
world.
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never
Or
know.
Lawrence Fishburne.
You
or
never
something.
know.
Although Lawrence
Exactly.
Fishburne is in,
He's in it. Yeah, he's in
Oh,
it
yeah.
and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we dive into some of the other details, obviously the end battle, the big one.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, there's some big stuff going on. That so I
Okay.
want
Oh my
because
God.
that's a moment where we were sitting because obviously we can only hear so many people. I was sitting next to Brian. I was also sitting next to my buddy Max.
Yeah.
We all lost our mind. So I'm thinking to myself, they're losing their mind over there as well. But I could be wrong. I mean, what were your guys' reactions to all that happening?
Mind blown.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is not happening right now. Literally every person, every
the scale
hero,
of it was incredible.
When
and how they're able to balance it all.
when Black Panther
crazy.
came
It's
through
crazy.
that, and I heard you didn't catch Sam saying
No,
on
he
your
didn't.
left.
He didn't
no,
catch it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't hear it at all
The
until Jake
second,
That-
I
that's
lost
the
it the
same thing.
second it happened.
I knew that was
oh.
his voice,
Oh my
but
god!
I'd forgotten earlier.
And then,
Banner
and then I
did snap
almost,
earlier,
I
that's
almost
right.
started to cry when he
Say-
said "on your left."
On
I
your
was
left.
like,
I did the same thing. I was like,
I didn't catch it at
Yeah.
all, and then I saw Jake sent me it on Instagram, and I was like, "Son of a gun,
Was-
how did I miss that?" It was
because the moment was so
just
easy.
so
I was
easy to-
pretty
well,
much-
and like I had mentioned on the spoiler discussion, is that on part one, you're not expecting that to happen because they're teasing you with the Cap and Thanos scene.
Right.
They're,
I was waiting for
when
it.
they're walking and they have that
Yeah.
beautiful shot of them in the distance, and it's the wide shot,
Yeah.
and you're expecting Cap to walk up to Thanos and telling him, as long as one man stands above you or stands in front of you, you'll never win or whatever. You know, that classic comic
Jake
book
and I were
line.
literally going,
Yeah.
"This is it."
And
This is it.
so you're not thinking to yourself, everyone's coming back, and then you hear Sam's voice.
You hear the
And then you see
static.
Doctor Strange's magic going on, and you're like,
When
what is happening?
Black
Panther
oh my God,
appears.
we were both like,
Dude.
Just
when he came out of that light,
And then he
yeah,
nods at Cap.
sure, yeah,
And he's like, and Cap's like, and Black Panther's like, we got you.
Yeah.
And then you see Drax and Star-Lord and Spider-Man.
My kids
like,
flipped when Spider-Man
dude, it was
swinging.
such
Scarlet
a...
Witch.
You see Wasp pop
yeah.
up, and like, it's such a beautiful moment, man.
Rescue.
Like everyone.
Winter Soldier walked through with
Winter
Groot,
Soldier,
and
yeah.
like, oh, it was so good.
I know, right?
And the fact that what's cool about it is that like it ties back, and obviously it had to make sense, but they were all where they were when they dusted.
Yeah.
And you see them all walk through those
Yep.
with the people
Come
they
through
dusted.
Titan.
You
Yep.
see all
Yeah.
of the wizards that were with Wong, and you see the Wakandan
I think
warriors, and
that
like.
was cool seeing all the sorcerers and
Yeah.
how many.
Well, because we know that they're all out there, but
Right.
we haven't seen
Right.
them, and
Yeah,
like
exactly.
so it made
Exactly.
sense for them to be there. And Wong has been doing his work obviously by bringing everyone together and being ready for.
Is this not enough?
And what's what kind of makes me think is like maybe Wong knew all along this was going to happen.
He probably
Because him and Strange were so tight.
Yeah.
And he knew the Ancient One, like he probably knew the prophecy of like something that was going to happen, and maybe Wong went into the future and saw things like Doctor Strange did.
Well, again, the Ancient One, again, that scene, and I love that moment when Banner is like, well, why the hell did he give him the stone then? And then she's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
was
Gave
so
him the stone,
cool.
yeah.
The pure look of shock on
Right.
her face.
Well, I
And it's just
also
that moment where she's like, oh, well then, okay.
I also love that they kind of threw in the small line of making sure people knew how important he was when she goes, he's supposed to be the best
The
of
best
us.
of us. The best
And
of
now
us.
people realize how important he actually is.
Exactly.
Not just to the Avengers, but the whole world in general.
And she
Yeah.
saw that about him.
He's the
years
chosen
ago.
one. He's
Yeah.
the chosen one of
the
what
Sorcerer
they
Supreme.
do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which it still doesn't seem like he is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Well, he
Yet.
he wasn't used in this movie as much as people thought he would.
Yeah.
Because like I told Brian when we walked out, he was basically thrown to the side to block water.
But you remember, but even in Infinity War, we were all asking last year, like, is he the Sorcerer Supreme yet? Do you think? It doesn't seem like he is.
I think he is now.
He didn't say he was.
I think he is now.
But
I think he
No,
is.
he did.
Yeah.
He did say.
He just said Master of the Mystic Arts.
Well, actually,
He would call
that's
himself.
true.
When he's talking to Thanos, he
yeah.
said, well, you're face to face with a Master.
I-
He said,
I-
you're face to face with the Sorcerer Supreme.
I think he is though. I think it's come to that point. It may not be like thrown at you, and he may not say the words, but I think those who maybe know the
I think
character.
there's some
I always
trials he has
just
to
took
go
it
through.
as whoever's the ancient one is the sorcerer supreme.
But he's not the ancient.
He's
one.
not.
Oh well. True.
She's literally that's just her.
Yes, that's her name. Yeah,
Yeah.
she is the
Sorcerer
ancient.
Supreme
One.
is the title.
Yeah.
And I think there's some kind of trials you have to do. That doesn't matter. But yeah, I love that moment. But
Doctor Strange too.
yeah, well, yeah, that
And
could
well,
be what.
Gio said it best. I mean,
Because him and Mortal fought over that in the comics. Like,
yes,
it's gonna be
and which will probably end up doing in the sequel.
right.
More than likely in the sequel.
forgot
But
about him.
the way that that Gio said it, that it was so balanced. I think that the way that the Russos captured it all on camera, and the way that every single character was used exactly how they should have been.
Giant Man, Ant-Man.
Well, that moment where he punches the space whale
Yeah.
was
the space
incredible. It was incredible.
I'm watching it like, dude, just pick up Thanos and throw him across
And then-
New York
Is
State.
he the one who stomps on
He
that?
stomps on the
Yeah.
on what's his name? Yeah, he kills him
Wait, what?
on the big gore
on that.
from
he
Infinity
stomped
War.
on him?
Yeah, he stepped
I
on
don't
him.
think I've even
Yeah.
saw
Yeah, he
it.
stepped on him.
Just-
Oh,
I think Thor was fighting him.
It was
or
right at that moment, yeah.
Thor fought him through him, or
Yeah.
someone threw him, and then
Yeah.
Giant Man stepped on him.
I kind of
And I
liked
think
how
that's
they,
the moment when Spider-Man and Tony had their reunion.
Yes.
Right
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah,
liked
yeah.
how they gave us just a little bit of the Black Order, just kind of just enough to like.
Well,
be
they
like-
didn't. We got their backstory, or not their backstory. We got them in Infinity War. Just show them fighting because they were with him.
Yeah,
that's all we needed.
Yeah, I think that.
Although we didn't get any Proxima Midnight. No.
she was in it.
But there
She-
was like
Did you see
nothing.
the part
She
where
was
she was
there.
holding him?
Yeah.
She was holding not Ebony Maw, whatever Corvus Glaive.
Oh.
Corvus Glaive. Right before they dusted, she was holding him.
Oh, so
Yeah,
the very
it was,
end.
yeah.
Okay,
They
that's
dusted
fine.
off,
That's
yeah.
fine. That's
Wow.
fine.
She was in it for like she was in the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which most of them were.
Yeah.
Most of them were. Yeah.
So, but yeah.
It was nice to see Ebony Maw again.
Well, he was the
like
best
him,
one out of
yeah.
all of them.
He gave him a line. He had a couple.
Well,
one or two
and
lines,
what
too.
was interesting
Well, they were
is
on-
that he has a lot of power with Thanos because he threw
He's-
that thing around Nebula's neck.
He has a lot of history.
Yeah.
with
He threw the thing around Nebula's neck, and a lot of people wouldn't cross Thanos
Your
like that.
daughter is a traitor.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
he has some power, and he's brave enough to do that with him,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
very telling.
Yeah, it was cool. I liked that they did that. They gave because I think a lot of people had a problem with how pointless they were in Infinity War.
I don't think they were.
They weren't
It's
as
it's
big
not
as they,
it's not that
they
they
just
were
weren't-
pointless. It's that they weren't used a lot like people were thinking, but they
Yeah.
didn't need to be.
Yeah.
True.
They served their purpose.
It was just kind of
It
cool.
was Thanos' story.
It was just kind of
Exactly.
cool,
Exactly.
seeing them just pop up because that was part of his story.
Yeah.
I didn't even cross my mind that they would show up again. And
Yeah,
that
me
you
either.
saw
Nobody.
them.
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah.
Because we didn't know
Oh.
that they would go back like that.
Yeah.
Which
So-
was
That
perfect.
Thanos they'd be
reviews.
fighting would be from.
And we talked about it on the first spoilers, but that's a different Thanos, man. He is
Oh, my
menacing.
God.
Yes.
Yeah,
He's
he was.
That's attack. That's Mad Titan Thanos. Like he's in the battles.
Okay.
Because Infinity War, we saw him with the glove. He was casually kicking around using the
Yep.
glove. This is like Darth Maul Thanos.
So,
like he will
okay.
kick your
So you
ass.
Dude,
like-
his sword was
Glad you brought that. That
badass.
thing was crazy, right?
That thing.
It's a boomerang.
It's a.
Yeah.
It's a boomerang. It came back to him when he was fighting Cap.
Big helicopter thing. Like,
Yeah, it's incredible.
It's like a helicopter blade.
Yeah.
It was dope.
Thanos. So I understand it's a different Thanos it's from 5 years ago, or whatever. He's a bad guy. All right. One of the things that everyone last year was Thanos. His noble. His intentions were noble. This and that.
No, they're not.
No.
No.
Bad guy. You know, was that you? Yeah.
No,
I was thinking
he's
of
a
Jacob.
terrible
No,
person.
he's-
I was questioning
He's a
whether or
dickhead
not what he did
because-
was good.
No.
Well,
because
a
here's
lot
the
of
thing.
people were siding with him
His
because
whole
they
plan-
believed him.
His whole plan now is, you know what? Now I can see that my plan didn't work because that's what he said. It was supposed to be, oh well, the universe, the resources are finite,
Yeah.
so I need to just cut everyone in half. So no, that didn't work because they weren't grateful.
I'm gonna kill
so I'm gonna
all of
destroy
you.
everyone and rebuild and make everyone love me and be grateful. That's what I. What is? You suck.
He was gonna,
Dickhead.
he was going
Like,
to be a
he's
giant
just.
Titan
Yeah.
slave guy that just enslaved the world.
Ah, get-
He's Hitler in MCU.
Yeah, I
Pretty
mean,
much.
just
No,
so
Hitler actually exists though.
But I'm in the MCU. What I'm saying.
He does exist.
And he
in
was-
that
he was-
MCU.
Oh well, yes. Yeah, okay. Fair. And he's Hitler in that timeline.
That's what I was gonna say.
He's Hitler in that timeline.
Punched him.
Yeah,
Cap
that's
punched
fair.
him.
That's fair. That's fair. Fair enough.
So yeah, so Thanos sucks. So he definitely.
I
got
liked it.
deserved
I
to
like that they made him ruthless.
He was gosh. I mean,
He
Well, they
was
needed to be because he didn't have the glove.
should
He and
That's fine.
we saw that when he fought the Trinity. He fought, and yes, I'm saying the Trinity because they are the Trinity. Gio.
They're not the Holy Trinity.
They are the Trinity. When he fought
Superman.
when he fought Iron Man, Cap, and Thor, like, dude, that
He held his own, and he was whooping
you know,
a little bit of ass right there.
until a moment
Until-
where I lost my
yes.
absolute
God.
ass.
I almost
Thor
had to grab
should've-
Jake because I thought he was going to jump and hit the ceiling.
okay,
When-
Yeah, we're gonna get to that second. If you got a thought, we'll get to that second.
yeah,
But
same here.
oh
Same
my
here.
god.
Thor should have torn him apart. Thor.
Yeah, but that's not the same Thor.
Yeah,
He
Thor
was
out of
still.
shape.
He was.
he was whole winded.
He's still. Come on.
No, hey, look, I agree with
He
you,
had
but remember,
the axe and the hammer.
but-
he should have.
but it's a different Thanos. It's a different Thanos, and
And
he
an
doesn't
out-of-shape
have the
Thor.
glove. It's a different Thanos.
He had the Thanos killing weapon.
I know he did, but he
and
also.
his hammer.
I get that. I understand that. But
Jake was mad that he didn't when he didn't lightning. He didn't become skinny and muscular again.
I was thinking that was gonna
yeah,
happen.
he should have.
Yeah,
he
but-
should
When
have.
he was just standing there.
I
looking
like
at him,
I like
and
the
his
hair
eyes
he
lit
gave
up.
him. I
Yeah.
like the beard,
He
but
twisted his beard,
it should have been
that was
it
cool.
should have
He
been
would've
more
had-
fit.
If he would have had the beard and the eye patch,
Yes, he should have had the
that
eye
would
patch.
have been.
I'm still. That's probably one of the biggest mistakes they ever made is not giving him the eye patch. He should have had the eye patch. But that's a nitpick for me.
Yeah, you don't
Um,
Hemsworth with.
That's an eye patch for
He's
me.
too
But
good. Too good
Oh,
looking.
Jackson.
but
that's
let's
Hemsworth, man.
yeah, like, yes, maybe Thor. But remember, Thor has been at it for 5 years, right? He
Drinking,
Thanos has been.
crying.
He's playing video games and kicking people's butt on Fortnite or whatever he was playing.
That was
That was the
my
best.
kids flipped when they saw it. They were cracking up like, "Oh my god, he's playing Fortnite."
But yeah, I think they were definitely going to lose that battle
He's
until
crying. Oh, no.
until the moment of all moments that we've been anticipating for movies and movies. Cap is worthy.
Again,
Cap is
how they
worthy.
tie it in and how they tie it up.
It's so
Great.
beautiful, and I love how they also added in that Thor's like, I knew it.
I knew it.
And it wasn't a comedy moment; it was a serious moment.
Yeah.
Like he knew
Yeah.
Cap was worthy, and Brian brought up the theory, and I don't know if you read it online or whatever it may have been, but maybe Cap has known the entire time that he is worthy, because Brian said that in Age of Ultron, if he actually picked that hammer up, it could have destroyed Thor. It could have destroyed Thor if he actually picked it up. What
Yeah,
if he's
that's
known the
human
entire
factor.
time?
I'm sure he.
Because
Yeah.
We
Well, he
don't-
must have.
it
Because otherwise he wouldn't have done that. He would.
No,
Exactly.
He knows that this could have moved it.
exactly.
So he's like.
Yeah, of all things, in that moment, he's going to save Thor. Take the
He
chance
just-
by reaching it out and grabbing it.
Yeah. And he's
Although
seen
I will
Thor
say
do it,
this,
so he knows
although
how
I will say this, when I watched it, they don't technically show him reaching or grabbing.
No.
The hammer just gets lifted and then it
lifts up,
goes to him. Or no, it's lifted and then it goes to him swinging against Thanos. So we don't know whether or not he actually grabbed or picked up. It doesn't show, but that's either here nor
The
there.
hammer kind of just went to him.
Exactly.
I've heard that theory about the lightsaber with Rey.
Yeah.
It just went to her.
Yeah.
She was kind of reaching for
Yes,
it.
yes.
I love the scene where it gets in his hand and he just has the shield and the other
Yes.
one's like,
Oh,
oh,
right.
Dude, but it's the way, and we talked about it on the other, and we don't have to discuss it too much, but the way he uses it, how he puts the lightning through the ground,
Yes.
how he brings it down, how he throws the shield behind Thanos,
Yeah.
throws the hammer off the shield.
He relentlessly
Dude.
crap out.
It's incredible
Yeah.
how he used it.
Yeah.
It's just, oh my god. Once I get that movie, I'm gonna watch that scene
Thanos
over
should
and
be
over
dead.
again. I'm gonna watch that scene over and over
I know,
again.
same
It's
here.
incredible.
Yeah.
He should be dead, but it was a
So
smart play for Tony to dust him. It made complete
of
sense.
course.
So
Plus, you get the line.
yes,
That's right, that was-
yes,
And I knew
yes.
as soon as
Ah.
I knew he's.
Yes.
I am Iron Man. I knew
It was the perfect way to end it. Perfect way to end it. Perfect way. Let me ask you two this, because Gio and I did this on a separate video, which will probably come out in a couple days. But just quickly before we move on to the different part of the show, do you think that they made the right choices by killing Widow and Iron Man? And do you think that they were killed in the right way?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Keith.
Oh, because he doesn't like it, huh?
No.
Oh no! You should have been on that video, man.
Okay.
I was sitting while you guys were filming,
We were out
listening
there
to him, and I
talking.
was like, "Oh my god!" Keith starts.
I'm not convinced
That Iron Man's dead?
that we've seen the last of either of these characters.
Really?
I mean, given the history of the MCU, I must say that's not out of the realm of
How so?
possibility.
Prove me wrong.
Black Widow. So we know she's got a movie coming, right?
Mhm.
I'm not convinced it's going to be a prequel. It could very well be set in an alternate timeline or an alternate
Dimension.
reality.
Yeah, I mean, now that we know that timelines that don't mess with each other
Right.
very well, yeah, it's very.
And who knows what happened when Cap was putting back those stones, or
Mhm.
when or where he put those stones back.
Yeah, if he screwed up, which I don't know if he screwed up or not, because he's kind of a good guy, but you know.
No, but look what he did. I mean, he looked.
I know. I feel
He
I
changed
feel
his own
Yes.
destiny.
Yes.
So he could have altered that alone. Could have set off, branched off some crazy timeline where everything is still, and not the, I don't want to say the same, but Black Widow, maybe she still works for the KGB, or
Mhm.
maybe we'll get that whole thing.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe Winter Soldier works for Shield.
For
Well,
Shield.
when I told-
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That-
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got my mind going.
When he told me this, I said, "It's funny that you said that, because the one thing I was thinking of is, how do you return the Soul Stone?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
like-
heard someone on another podcast on Mr. Sunday Movie said he had heard one of the directors say that the Red Skull's out. He's been free.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have a
He's
hard
not
time
there anymore.
imagining Cap is gonna just
Go there with
teleport
Red
to-
Skull there.
What's up,
Yeah.
Red Skull?
Hey.
Here's your stone back.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So, just think of it as the movie, though. Do you think that they made the right choices with these characters of killing them?
But that, yes, that definitely, because no one of all the people we all thought were gonna die, nobody had Black Widow.
Nobody.
I don't think not one of us. said her.
Nobody. Anybody online, everybody.
But it worked.
They've been teasing Hawkeye dying for like 4 movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Hawkeye's been teased to die every.
And at this
single
point, I'm so
time.
glad he didn't, because Hawkeye's awesome. And, you know, we've met his family and all this stuff. The way the movie opened, we're seeing him. He's basically turned into John Wick by the time we
Dude,
get to.
his entrance
That was crazy.
was insane. I was like,
And
who
look
was
what
the person that suggested that they could go to the bathroom at that
I
scene?
know, right?
Because that was
No,
bad.
that was amazing. And then he's thrown in with the Yakuza or something. And he's got the tattoos and he's killing Mexican cartels, whole cartels and stuff. I want to see that. Whatever he's been doing all these years.
Give us
Yeah.
a dark
But
Hawkeye Ronin.
jeez, but yeah, as far as Black Widow though, like I said, they're not gonna. It just didn't feel like they took it all the way up to like you had no idea which one it was gonna be. But what got me, especially the second time watching the movie, was when she's hanging on the thing and she just quietly says, "Let me go."
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Yep. It's hard. It's I definitely got more emotional watching the second time knowing it was happening.
Yes.
But because I was able to kind of listen and really watch to what was going on. Where the first time you're just like, oh my god,
It's so
oh my god, oh my god.
There's a shock factor.
I love how they made you like hold your breath and like, oh, it's him. No, it's her. No, it's him. No, it's her.
Yeah.
Like they would switch things really quickly and then.
And I think she just with everything that we've seen her transform from all the way back to Iron Man 2 all the way to now. I mean, I think she earned that.
Well, it's
she
also
earned that the character and the actress obviously, and like she earned that moment. She earned the right to be able to do that for herself.
We talked about it just from the beginning of the movie. She kept mentioning how the fact that she never had a family.
Right.
This was her family. Her ultimate goal was getting the Avengers back together.
Yeah.
She never stopped. She was the one person to never stop. Everything went through her. Captain Marvel went through her. Wakanda went through her. Rocket and Nebula went through her.
War Machine went through her.
She was the central part, and so her story led her to that moment. She knew that if she did that, they would win. Like she realized, and Scarlet Witch said it when her and Hawkeye at the very end of the movie, and Hawkeye's like, I wish I could tell her, and she was like, she knows.
Yeah.
She knows, and so it just from everything that we've seen from her, it fit, and just. I love the way that they handled her character, specifically when the Russos got on board with the Winter Soldier, because every movie that she's been in has been directed by the Russos since the Winter Soldier, and the way that they built her arc along with Captain America is phenomenal.
It's so great,
so good.
Because you know that, like she pointed out in Avengers, like I've gotten rid of my ledger, I'd like to wipe it out, and just everything she went through in Winter Soldier, like I just traded in KGB for Hydra, like she's trying to make it right for herself. She's never felt like she quite could, but then you get that we're fighting, like what she's fighting for is her trying to figure out what she's fighting for and trying to make sure she's fighting for the right causes and the right things, and like for her family, like you said, just for her to make that sacrifice, like I said, it was earned, like I said, for her, and it's but I don't think we've seen the last of her.
So with that, if you don't think that, are you going to be disappointed if they do a prequel?
No, because I'd like to see her and Hawkeye doing some stuff.
Do you think it'll be Budapest?
It
going
needs
up
to be
against.
Budapest.
I've imagined that it would be because they follow the story right in the comics where he's sent to kill her,
and he turns her
somehow.
Yes.
Like what happened?
Well, they teased that in the original Avengers.
They said that
they teased it in the original Avengers. Yeah.
And so I think that would be what the story would be.
Agree. Which
if Jeremy Renner's going to be.
Can we all agree that he is more than likely going to be in the movie? Hawkeye?
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine he wouldn't.
I agree. I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Either that or it's got to be either him or Winter Soldier.
I want to see all three of them.
I would love that.
I think there's
because they knew each other.
Well, there's two things you can do. One, you can do the Budapest thing. Yeah. Well, there's actually three things.
Whatever that was.
One, you can do Budapest. Two, you can do Hawkeye turning her. Mm-hmm. Or three, in Winter Soldier, she mentioned how he ruined a save that she did.
She was supposed to save someone.
And like someone died or she had a bullet through her. Yep. They can easily be something where they go up against each other.
And when they're fighting in Civil War, ruined by bikini. And in Civil War, when she was fighting him briefly, she meant he was choking her, and she said you could at least recognize him.
Yes.
So they probably worked together.
They definitely have a history in that. Yeah. Well, in the comics, they have a love relationship at some point too. Yeah. There's a comic arc with that as well, but that's not going to happen. I'm just saying that there could easily be something very, very cool with those two characters because of how ruthless they both are.
Right.
At that time, anyway.
Yeah. Well, out of his 9-picture deal, he has 5 left, and he's not going to be Cap, so why not?
Yeah, and as of
really still have 5.
Well, let's see. He was in First Avenger. He was in Winter Soldier. He was in Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. So I don't know.
Does Black Panther count?
Black Panther more than likely doesn't count.
Wait, you think so?
Because Chris Evans' Thor: Dark World cameo didn't count.
Didn't count. Okay.
Didn't count.
Did he count as Spider-Man? When he was on the TV all the time?
No, I doubt it. No, I'm sure that was like 2 hours worth of shooting or something. I'm sure that was like an hour worth of shooting or something like that. But
he may have already done that.
He's probably got about 4 or 5 left, and it'll be interesting to see how they use him. Because I mean, obviously he's not the new Captain America now, and
he has the TV show.
And he's got the TV show with Falcon. But
which I love
let
that.
me ask a question. Let's move into some.
Really quick, sorry.
No, you're fine, dude. You're fine.
The Tony Stark one. We gotta get the Stark.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
What do you think?
No, I don't like your theory because.
Oh, you don't like my Black Widow thing?
No, about them
not coming back,
or
either of them.
an alternate.
Okay.
Because you dedicate so much time to their death.
To their death.
And,
I understand.
and for it to be nothing.
Yeah.
And then if you guys don't have a problem with it, I'm gonna have a problem with that. Because in Batman v Superman, they
Oh
dedicated so much time
my
to
god!
Superman's death. You had a problem with that.
That was a mistake.
They didn't dedicate a lot of time.
And
But
this
that's
would be a
okay.
mistake.
Should not have done.
If the two of them come back.
That was a. Here's the thing.
What?
Again, that was movie number 2
Yes.
in that series.
Uh-huh.
Everybody knew damn well Superman's not going to be dead. Like, if that was 4 or 5 years later after several movies and the death of Superman, that would have been a big deal. But even in the comics, when that happened at the time, I remember that. Nobody thought, okay, oh my gosh, Superman's
But
gone.
it wasn't about that. It was about humanity now accepting and loving Superman for the hero that he truly was.
Well, that would have been fine if they hadn't spent. Okay, look, we're talking about Avengers.
Okay. Thank you.
But well, I see what you're saying, especially with the Tony Stark. Like to see him come
They
back.
put so much into that funeral scene,
Of course, which was oh my god, and
That's
everybody was
really
there.
the
But my
opinion
theory,
that
again,
perfect.
my theory, I
Now
didn't
that
say it,
theory
right?
I would buy into.
My theory for Tony Stark is that he will be. I'm gonna say Spider-Man's new AI, but I think just an AI.
The
in
new
general.
Jarvis.
The new Jarvis.
Jarvis.
Or Friday or
Can you
whatever.
imagine Robert Downey Jr.'s smart ass
It'd be
remarks
great.
on his
Right. I
Well,
would love
Jarvis had a little kick to him
Jarvis
too. And
did.
imagine Tony.
I
I
know,
would love
that's
it to
what
be
I'm saying.
Spider-Man, but just whoever maybe for Pepper's suit or for Rhodey or for whoever.
Do you think we'll see
just
Pepper
an
again?
AI
No.
again.
No,
I doubt it.
I don't think we'll see Pepper again
I doubt
either.
it.
Yeah.
If not more than a
Very cool
quick
send off
cameo,
with Rescue because
but,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
But I dig that theory.
Dude, that scene
I really
when
do
they
dig that
are
theory.
back to back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Well,
that was really cool, wasn't it?
So
Yeah, that was
They
awesome.
showed it in their most recent TV spot. Yeah, it was in the most recent TV spot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love that. I love because in the few seconds he had this gauntlet for I don't know 10, 20 seconds maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Which I love that. I love that scene with him and Strange, where Strange just puts the finger up. Like,
Yep.
Wait,
and he knows.
wait. And I loved earlier where Strange he asked Strange like, is this the outcome?
If
that
I
you
tell
thought?
you, it
Like,
won't come true.
because he knows that if Tony knows what's going to happen, he'll have the time to think about it and go,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
might hesitate. So I love that because he knew that Tony would do it
Yeah.
in the right moment. But who knows what Tony did in that time when he had those stones? And because you got those stones, you've got all the power and knowledge and everything of time and space and everything in the universe. So he could have done anything in that time if he had. And he's a quick enough thinker to, what if I make myself clone myself somewhere or just download my consciousness to, or whatever, who knows, maybe at another point in time. Because in the comics, that's a thing that they went and got a past version of Tony Stark. In one storyline, they went and got Tony Stark from the past and brought him in. The Avengers brought him into the future to join them. I don't think we'll see anything like that. Downey's getting older, and it's probably not. He's very expensive. Obviously, we know as well. But seeing him, or maybe just hearing his voice as AI, I think that would be something that I think
Could
that's
be
a
very
strong
cool.
possibility. And it'd be
Could be
obviously
very,
cool to
very
see.
I
cool.
like that theory. Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be very cool. So to kind of wrap up the show, we got about 15, 20 minutes or so. So I want to kind of ask a couple questions since we didn't do this on the first discussion. Just right off the bat, favorite moment or most memorable moment you had from Endgame. The kind of one thing that maybe stood out, whether it was a character scene, anything. We'll kind of go around the table, talk about it a little bit, kind of dive into it. If anybody wants to start,
I can go.
go ahead.
My favorite is literally them panning over when they all start coming out of the sling ring portals.
Yeah.
That is my absolute, and that's the thing that every time I think about this movie, the first thing that pops into my mind is that scene is amazing. I will say, what I loved and touched me the most throughout the movie is we basically got to relive all the past movies.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that a lot.
And it almost to me was like it was showing you how great everything was up until that point.
Although they picked Thor: The Dark World,
Yeah, that was a little weird.
which was interesting.
For the
I
arc,
love that scene.
No,
I
I understand the scene, but I'm like, you pick one of the bad movies to go back to.
Not bad. That movie's
Natalie
fine.
Portman has one day of shooting.
Did
Nah,
you know
I think that was
They said that
stock
she
footage.
never shot a new scene.
Yeah, that was footage from.
They came out and said she never shot a new
So
scene.
it must have been a deleted
Wow.
scene.
It was stock footage. Yeah,
It
Yeah.
was deleted scene.
So why was she at the premiere then?
So she's support. It was the final movie.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah.
But I think the thing that got me the most really was them going to original Avengers.
Yeah.
It was just so.
Well, in the group that they had, it was Iron Man, Cap, Banner, and then Ant-Man, who had never experienced any of that.
Ant-Man's like,
But
oh.
the three of them, because it meant the most to them, because that was the first time Hulk was really accepted in society as Hulk.
Yeah.
And then you have Cap and Tony, obviously, which played a big role. So
I loved when he's like, I was really this angry.
and he's like you smash a little bit. He's like quick note, you mentioned all the sling rings and everything, how they came out of the portals and everything. I don't think anybody notices. I saw this on Instagram because some idiot was taping it or whatever, and I saw this on Instagram. But
Quack, quack.
Howard the Duck was standing behind the Wasp.
I heard that he was walking
Coming-
through
you
the
can
battle.
see
He had a gun.
Oh, did he?
He had a gun.
I heard that.
He
Yes.
he was standing behind Evangeline Lilly's Wasp when she popped
Okay.
up. She popped up very quickly, but right behind her in the
It's
corner,
Howard-
he was
heard
Howard
that.
the Duck.
I heard he was there. Yeah.
Which is incredible.
You can.
Which means he got dusted,
Yeah.
but he's
Yeah,
back.
Yeah.
Who knows what's going to happen? Maybe he gets a movie,
I heard that.
a reboot of his crappy movie from back in the
That's
day.
Oh
hilarious.
my god.
For me, I mean, look, there's a
There's
lot of moments that you can kind of talk about. I love a lot of stuff that happened in the end battle. One of the scenes that always stands out to me is the all women shot that happened with Valkyrie and Captain Marvel and Wasp again. Like all of these women. It sucks. It does suck that Black Widow wasn't included in that. But we talked about it that it was in memory of her because of what she started. Like she was there in spirit. Like it was all because of her. Right.
Yeah.
And we all know that. Mm-hmm. Obviously, a lot of stuff with Ant-Man, like him being included in the movie, was fantastic. It's obvious. The thing that takes the cake, though, is Cap wielding Mjolnir. That moment, that whole sequence of him doing that, and him finally yelling "Avengers Assemble" as well with Mjolnir in his hand.
I wouldn't go back to yelling.
Well,
He was
speaking
very calm.
Speaking of Avengers Assemble,
He's got the calm.
I think that it's such a perfect add to his arc and everything that has happened in culmination of everything of all these movies and what Joss Whedon did in Age of Ultron and how it kind of came back to this and just that moment, like it's a comic book moment and that's why this movie is the best comic book movie, pure comic book movie that's ever been released, because it's comic booky throughout the entire thing, and him wielding the hammer is an add to that, and so that scene and that moment kind of takes the cake for me.
Oh yeah, like I said, for me earlier, that whole scene between the Ancient One and Hulk / Banner.
Yeah.
Like, who would ever thought you'd see those two?
Well, I love that
together?
she pushes him out of his body
Yes,
too,
that
which
was
is really
awesome.
cool.
And
Yeah.
you see, obviously, you can see the only time we see Ruffalo himself,
Yeah.
or Banner, obviously.
Yeah.
And
Intelligent Hulk. We haven't talked about that.
Hulk is literally
Professor Hulk.
Professor Hulk,
Yeah.
man, that was good.
Hulk
I
is
love,
so good.
and it
Yeah.
looked good too.
Yeah, he looked great.
I was
right?
for the first minute or two, I was like, "This is really shit."
Ruffalo did a great,
At first
and
I
it's
was
the
like-
first time he's acted as Hulk, like
Yeah.
voice wise,
Yeah, yeah,
because it's always been Lou Ferrigno doing the Hulk voice, but it was really cool how
At
he did
first,
that.
I was a little wary of it, and then it grew on.
I love the first scene with the two. He's eating like 1,000 pounds worth of food.
Yeah.
He got a huge pile of sausage and eggs.
Yeah, he's got like
Really
burritos
funny. Yeah,
And then later, he gives Ant-Man 2 tacos.
yeah, two
There you
mini
go.
tacos.
That was hilarious.
So good.
That was really funny. But yeah, I love that. I just love that whole scene. I love that discussion. I love both of them too. The nice back and forth and
She's
that was
awesome.
a great. She isn't she?
She's
It
so
sucks that she.
awesome.
It sucks what happened to her in Doctor Strange, but and
She served her purpose.
she did, and I love that she didn't know. She knew that Strange what he would become, but she didn't know what he was going to do. Because you remember, obviously in Doctor Strange, she said she couldn't see past that moment when she died. man.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
That made it that much more real.
Well, and so
right?
I explained
I didn't
it
even think about that.
inside the movie quickly as I possibly could. I explained it to both Brian and the buddy Max sitting next to me. She didn't know because, well, Strange saw 14 million futures, right? In those 14 million futures, she didn't give Banner the stone, which is why they lost. And she realized it in that moment. So she was like, "Oh crap, here's the stone."
Yeah.
And that's why they ended up. They ended up winning because she gave them the stone.
Right. Exactly right. And exactly. And then her realization that if he gave Thanos the stone,
There's a
he
reason
did it
for it.
reason.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is
and
ultimately
it was because of this moment where I am right now.
Maybe that's the trial.
Maybe
That's the trial.
Sure.
Maybe that is the thing that makes him the Sorcerer Supreme.
And
He's
and
willing to do
protector of
what?
that stone.
Wait, he's willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. To defend that. Listen, maybe.
I think that scene made her that much more important in Doctor Strange.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Now going back and watching that movie, you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So that whole scene is probably just.
There's
everything.
tons. I mean, there's so much
many.
to choose from.
Thor, you're right in the beginning, taking out Thanos, and feeling bad about it, which is the crazy thing because he couldn't. Obviously,
Yeah, the way
damage was already
the
done.
way he said, "I went for the head."
for the head.
It was like agony, pure agony.
Because he knows he
And that-
should have did it.
And that was the start of Fat Thor.
Yeah. Which and my daughter was like, I felt so bad for him. I was like, yeah, it was sad. It was sad, the moment that Banner mentions Thanos and the way his face changed. So it's like, yeah, that was a. Thor's
In court.
last
We don't
3
say
movies
that
in a row. Yeah.
We don't like to say that name in this
3
house.
movies in a row, man. I mean,
He
Hemsworth is
rejuvenated,
just- oh my
rejuvenated.
God. He's
and
my
I think
favorite
I think he's
Avenger.
willing to play the character now that they've kind of finally gotten a hold on him.
Yeah.
Because he was just the big brooding god that came down through some lightning down in Avengers and Age of Ultron. But once Ragnarok came around, they're like, okay, we kind of have to change it. And Taika Waititi was like, I'm doing something different.
Yeah.
And it totally worked.
And he's gone through such a change as a person, and
It's because they figured out what Chris Hemsworth can do.
and how funny he is.
That
how-
and
yeah.
they finally took advantage of the fact that he's out in space.
Right.
They stopped coming back to Earth.
James Gunn is writing and directing.
I don't know how many times I've talked about that.
He's going to be.
I don't know how many times the Asgardians of the
Thor
Galaxy.
is going to
It
be
better be
James
called
Gunn.
the Asgardians of the
It
Galaxy.
should be.
It needs to be called
Thor is going to
Asgardians
be.
of the Galaxy.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And I mentioned this on the first spoilers, but now there's a fighting chance for the Guardians against Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
They weren't able to beat him
forgot about
beforehand. Now facing Adam Warlock, they have a chance with Thor.
With Thor. Yeah.
100% a chance with Thor. And obviously they're going to go after Gamora because that final shot they're searching for her, or Peter Quill is. So they're going to find the 2014 version of her that's now in the present.
Yeah.
Which will be a cool story to play with. But yeah, James Gunn writing that group. All the jokes of Chris Pratt trying to do his voice, and maybe he actually has a Bowflex in this movie, and he's working out in the ship. Who knows? But it's definitely a bright spot of him coming back and doing that with Thor involved.
It's
so.
crazy to think James Gunn is going to have his hand with Thor.
On Chris Hemsworth, dude.
It's-
Like
Yeah.
first Taika Waititi, then the Russos, now James Gunn. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, Chris Hemsworth went from like low to like super high with everything.
Especially with Infinity War.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the arc he's had recently has been pretty incredible. But, Gio, what you got, man? The favorite, most memorable scene you have from Endgame.
Oh man, you took my first one with all the ladies of the MCU.
I mean, I didn't take it, but
that was badass. But can I mention 2?
you can. I mean, I'm sure every single one of us did. Yeah.
The first one, and it's because I love the Winter Soldier. And
So do I.
And so to see Captain America in the elevator.
Oh my God.
Jake
I was
almost lost
dude.
his mind.
Dude.
I leaned to you and said, they're going to do another elevator fight. And
Dude.
we
Is he
gonna
both
do
perked
the
up
same
like, I'm glad they did.
Oh my God,
I'm
I
glad
was
they didn't
like-
do it.
So am I, but I would have
man.
jumped up, screamed at the top of my lungs, F yes, and sat back down if they actually did.
All the same
before we
guys.
get started,
They're all-
does
Yes.
anyone want to get
Oh
out?
my
Oh,
God.
Here we go again.
Jake was like digging into his seat, ready to go.
They even got the big bald guy in the
Yeah.
back. I'm like,
They had
wow,
all of them. They had
all of
Rumlow.
them.
They had Rumlow's partner who got beat up.
The
They
guy,
had
yeah,
the guy who was sweating in
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I mean, dude.
and then
yeah.
only to whisper.
Yes.
And I love that he
And-
thought of that.
And it was a great
call.
callback to the
Yeah.
recent comic line that
Yeah,
they did with
exactly.
him, and which only few people know. But It was and then
Aged
he
well and-
he walks away smirking like it's so. And then
Right.
it leads to the scene of him fighting himself.
Which,
That might have
And-
been Gio's.
No.
But and then he's like I can do this all day. He goes like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know.
I loved it when they were throwing the shields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so. In America's ass.
Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably the best comedy line of the whole thing is that is America's ass.
yeah.
Oh, it's so
It was
good.
so great, man. It was so great. But for me, it's the ending and how Falcon is given the
Yeah.
Captain America.
Yeah.
Because the whole time, he's like, I can go with you. He's like, no. And even Bucky's in on it. He's like, Bucky.
Yeah, Bucky and the
Bucky-
Russos came out and
Bucky-
said that he did know,
Bucky knew.
Yeah.
which is why their
He
goodbye
said
was kind of
something
slightly
that gave
different.
it away. I forget what the line was.
Yeah, it was the sign or the line that they said in the very first Avengers
Yeah.
is you're taking all the stupid with you.
Yes,
From the
that
very,
was it.
he said
Yeah.
he said don't do anything stupid
Yeah.
till I get back, and he responds with you're taking all the stupid with you,
yeah.
which is the line that Steve told him when he went off to
Before he
war.
went to war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
just it was so emotional
call.
how it happened.
Yeah.
It's just it was Falcon's moment.
Well, and it was
just
perfectly executed.
And
Yes. Perfectly
love
executed.
old Steve Rogers. And in between, before I went to watch it the second time, and before I took the kids, that morning we watched. I put on the first Avenger just to watch because I didn't want to give them anything away. I'm like, hey guys, let's just sit and watch this.
Yeah.
Because that moment of him and Peggy dancing.
It meant so much.
And that's the last thing he said.
So
in the movie
much.
was this, I had a date. There was talk about going in, and just seeing that, I was like, that is the sweetest.
Well, and
that was so good.
and here's what's interesting is there was a recent interview with the Russos. In that interview they also said that the Winter Soldier knew that Bucky knew. That's not his Peggy. That's a different Peggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he stole Peggy away from her husband.
It's a different Peggy. Because his Peggy had a family,
Right.
and it gave a whole new, but that gave a whole new meaning to in the Winter Soldier when she said, that Captain America is the reason I married my husband, which is kind of an alternate thing where she eventually married him and they had a life together, etc. But it was a very, very touching, emotional moment. I love that it started off with him going, "How can I live in a world without Captain America?" And he's like, "Well, that reminds me," and he hands him the shield. It's like, "Oh." The feels.
That's so great.
Yeah, and which begs
Good
the
call,
question:
man.
where is Peggy Carter?
In present,
Yeah,
she died.
She
She
probably
died in
still
Civil
died.
War. No, remember she died in Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember?
Or Sharon Carter. I'm sorry.
Sharon Carter. She's one of the characters that dusted.
Oh, is she?
She
Yeah, she did.
dusted because she was on the screen
She was
in
on
the
the
beginning of the
screen.
movie.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen her yet.
She may not exist.
She may not exist because of because Peggy's not her mom. Peggy's an aunt.
Aunt Peggy.
She's the aunt of
Yeah, that's
Sharon.
right.
So she could but she may play a role.
That's
Never
good.
know. She may because she's more than likely going to be a part of Shield because she was a part of Shield.
Yeah.
And Nick Fury to rebuild Shield, he needs people like her.
Yeah.
Because she went to the CIA, and then she's going to more than likely be recruited back to Shield by him and Mariah Hill. So we could eventually see Maria, whatever. We could see her, but it was about him and Peggy 100%. Even though that their Sharon and Cap's relationship in the comics is very important.
Yeah.
This whole franchise was about Peggy and him, and him getting back to her, and it was a beautiful send off and a beautiful way to do it, in the way that it kind of happened, and then it followed by him giving the shield to Falcon, and it was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
So I that scene is going to hold very big weight. I wonder how it's going to play into the Disney Plus series.
That it can
With-
do anything.
With Falcon and Winter Soldier, it's going to be very interesting how it's going to happen.
Can you imagine just like the comedy aspect of Sam being like, "I'm Captain America," to the Winter Soldier?
Well, I always go back to
Bucky.
two scenes with those two when I think of the series.
Civil War, I already know you're in.
One is when Captain America is kissing Sharon Carter for the first time, and he turns around and they're both nodding their heads. And then two is when they get webbed up by Spider-Man, and he goes,
I hate you.
He goes, you couldn't have done that
Oh,
before.
yeah.
And he goes, I hate you. And they're just sitting there webbed up.
I love their
Banter,
Yep.
It's gonna be amazing. And it also begs the question if that teaser logo that was dropped during the Disney Plus droppings, was it a fake logo, and is Falcon's logo actually gonna have the shield around
shield?
it instead of the wings?
That'd be crazy.
Because he is Captain America now, and you can't tell a story from the past because they were both dusted.
Yeah.
And when Cap broke him out of prison, Winter Soldier was in Wakanda.
Yeah.
And so it's only a sequel.
Yeah.
Do you think that if that happens, he'll have his wings as Captain America?
Yes.
Yeah, because he does in the comics.
Yes, that's going to happen in the comics.
Yeah.
And his suit's going to be red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
It'll be red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
It'll be,
Give it
yeah.
to me now.
And I also think that it's going to be a learning curve, and I think Bucky's going to help him learn.
Yeah.
Because he kind of knows how to use the shield, and he has that ability to kind
You
of use
can't
it
rule
too.
out. I mean, once the rest of the world can trust Bucky again,
Mhm.
if they see that they can, he could still be Captain America at some point.
Very well.
You
Very
never
well.
know.
Very well. It could be very interesting. So
There's a quick thing we got to do. I think Jake knows what's coming here. We haven't mentioned Captain Marvel really. How she's.
I don't
first of all-
remember well, you mentioned this on our chat. I don't remember what you're talking about, so I'm going to be blown away here for a sec.
First of all, she should have torn Thanos apart. She was about to.
Although
When
that scene where
grabbed
he
the
tries to
Power Stone,
headbutt her,
that was awesome.
and she just
She
doesn't
didn't even
move.
flinch. Yeah, I was like,
It's
oh,
like
she's
the
gonna-
Kobe scene where Matt Barnes tries to get him to flinch, and he just stands looking at
Oh
him.
yeah.
She's just like, "What are you doing,
Yeah.
dude?"
And I love that. And she was about to just destroy him.
But he did a smart thing by pulling the power
stone
stone, yes.
and had to hit her with
Yes.
it.
The witch was about
She
to
was as
destroy
well.
him.
Oh yeah.
She was literally going to tear him
I
apart.
thought she was going to rip his arms out.
Yeah. Yeah. And she would have if the ship, whatever. But I love her coming out the sky and tearing up that ship, man. I was so
It will call back to her movie
To the
when
movie,
she ripped
exactly.
through
The
the
Ronin's,
Kree
yeah.
ship. Yeah.
So we did not get this moment where we learned in Captain Marvel that the reason the Avengers are called the Avengers is because Captain Marvel's call sign is Carol Avenger Danvers, right?
You-
Now, go ahead.
No. I want to
Okay.
listen to you.
So we got no explanation for this at all because Fury didn't show up until Tony
the
Stark's
explanation
funeral.
was in Captain Marvel.
And no, see
The explanation was in Captain Marvel, man.
Wait, what explanation? Go ahead.
So
why? Why is so you said you were in Infinity. I mean, Endgame. We're gonna get this moment where Fury explains to the Avengers they're gonna learn that they got their name. They're called the Avengers.
I was flat
Because-
out wrong. Flat out wrong.
Didn't happen, so there was no reason for that silly on the nose.
You never know.
No.
It could play into it.
No,
It also doesn't need to play into it.
that's all.
We just know.
It didn't need to happen.
We just know.
No reason for that at all. None.
We just know.
Now this.
You think Fury just came up with the word Avenger by himself?
Yes.
No.
I agree with Keith.
No. I don't care if all of you guys agree
If
with
we
Keith.
can't protect the world, we'll be damn well sure we'll avenge it.
Which
That's what
he
they call
got
it,
from
Avengers.
Captain Marvel.
No.
Tony said that.
He got it from Captain Marvel.
Maybe he's probably well aware of her because he.
No, I think Fury kept her off books, man.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
You
because
don't think Tony even knew?
no,
He hacked into all. He put the thing. Jarvis hacked into all Shield's.
yeah,
secret-
but I think Sam Jackson's Fury kept
kept
that
that from Shield.
because it was so long ago to where you know how businesses go through like system changes with new technology and stuff.
Yeah.
I think he jacked it from the hardwire and just kept
in
it
his
to
pocket.
himself.
Yeah.
I think he kept it to himself until this single moment, and he just had the pager.
Maybe. I love the fact that the scene just opened and she's just part of the team.
Yeah.
So that end credit scene.
And
like,
dude,
that had
her,
already
first of
happened.
all, her hair, amazing.
cool, right? I
Her
liked it.
costume,
Jake was
I like it too.
incredible.
I wish they
She
would've
has
done
the
that.
sash now.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, I liked it.
beautiful.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see her more, dude. I cannot wait to see more of her.
I love how she's like, all right, you guys just. I'm
I'm gonna be away for a while.
When I
You
get
do your
back.
thing.
Like, wait, where are you going? Oh, I'm gonna go kill Thanos.
Yeah, dude, that was
Oh,
so good.
wow. Okay.
My heart
So
rate
good.
thing on my Apple Watch spiked when she came flying in.
Yeah.
I was like, boom.
Real
Yeah.
quick, dude. Before we get out of here, did you guys think it was just kind of like a cheesy cop out that she saved Tony and Nebula,
No.
or did you think it worked well?
Well, what do you think?
I mean,
Was it just like the easy route to go to bring her into the fold?
Yeah, because you can't spend too much time on that.
There's
you
a lot
know,
of other stuff to do,
a lot
right?
of
You got to
other
find a way to
stuff.
bring him back.
And
I feel the same way about the Rat. Who else?
Yeah,
But like,
the real hero of the movie.
It seems like I understand why they did it, but exactly right. But I would have liked to have seen a moment where because Scott in the first Ant-Man And who'd have thought
he got out.
Both Ant-Man movies, but he figured out a way to get out.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to have seen him just
maybe him get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, quite honestly, I think Peyton Reed, unless the Russos directed the post-credit scene, Peyton Reed kind of left him on just an awkward spot because he's like, okay, he's now in the quantum realm, but the Russos are like, well, we're going 5 years in the future.
Right.
So what are we supposed to do? He can't just wait 5 years and like, oh wait, let me get to this.
But
even though it was 5 hours to him, don't you think he probably would have done it in like 30 minutes?
Well, that's what I mean. They would have come up with a scenario where like they had some kind of a thing, or if you don't hear from us by all right, let me just.
Very true. Very true. So maybe it was a convenient way.
Yeah. But
did you guys see the number of the storage locker that was that the van was kept in? 616.
Oh, was it? Earth 616.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, her coming like Captain Marvel rescuing them. I just figure Rocket probably is keeping track of that ship, and I think that he knew that they were gonna go after Thanos.
Maybe she saw something on the radar, like close to where she was.
And since like I said, they'd already met her and she'd already been there. And so she just go check this section of space.
I think I just figured that was going to happen, so it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
It just made the most sense to bring her into the fold because she's been going planet by planet out there, and we knew that she wasn't dusted, and she's very well one of the only few people, if the only, that has been out there kind of helping the universe and everything. So,
Man, I can't wait to watch this movie again.
I know. I want to go watch it again. So, all right. Well, that kind of wraps up part 2 of the discussion. Final words for everyone. I think that we all absolutely love this movie, and it's worth everything that it's getting, and it deserves everything. Quickly, just a one-word answer before we get out of here. Does it deserve an Oscar nomination in your mind?
Yes.
Gio?
Yeah.
A Best Picture Oscar nomination.
Yep.
If Black Panther got one, then yes.
Absolutely.
Is this better than Black Panther?
Yes.
Yes.
Best of the MCU?
Yes.
I think it's the best comic movie ever made.
Yes.
Personally, because it's the most purest comic book movie ever made.
It's up there with.
I'd like to agree. I was thinking about Logan, and I was thinking about. I'm still between. I've been saying Infinity War, but I'm still right there with Winter Soldier.
Do you like it more than Infinity War?
I think so.
Gio?
Yes.
Oh, 100%. I never thought I would hear the words come out of your mouth that you liked a movie better than
this beat Winter Soldier for me.
Yeah, I never thought
for the first time in 5 years, I've now officially knocked Winter Soldier off of my top 1.
I might be there with you.
It was the second time that did it for me. It's been, and here's the thing. It's because I was by myself and I was able to like really.
It's because I wasn't sitting next to her and bugging and shit.
Yeah. Crying and
crying and whimpering.
But that's where I lie, and it's a movie for me, and I can already say this, and I may be premature with it, but it's a movie that will continue to get better and better every time I watch it.
You might be right.
Every time.
What do you think?
It's gonna go.
Go watch it a second time and come back.
Where do you have Winter Soldier for you? What do you
Winter Soldier?
Yeah,
top 5.
Okay.
What was your number 1 MCU before this?
Before
Endgame. Let's say before Endgame, what was your number 1 MCU?
I think it was Winter Soldier.
Really?
I think it was Winter Soldier.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Where was Infinity War?
Infinity War, as far as MCU goes?
Yeah,
top 5.
Okay.
All right.
So we're all around the same boat. We're gonna for you guys who are listening, we're gonna revamp our MCU rankings because we did our MCU rankings before Infinity War, and so we have 3 movies to include in that. We're going to do an after Endgame rankings, and so that'll probably be out in a couple weeks after we get through all this spoiler discussion stuff and everything, kind of diving into it. We're going to go one by one, have a video on each and kind of break them down a little bit. I will tell you this, because I watched the entire MCU leading up to Endgame, my list has drastically changed after rewatching a bunch of those movies, and so that'll be a lot of fun to do, so check that out.
I would agree. I've been thinking that...
There's a couple movies that I'm surprised on how much I like.
I will say... I've been harder on Civil War than I probably should have been.
Damn right you have, Keith.
And I've
you have.
I've also changed. I'm Team Cap now.
What?
I'll explain.
Gio, I'll lighten your mood.
There's a great video.
I am much more on the side of the Incredible Hulk now.
I still can't.
Thank you.
I still can't. said that he texted me.
I am much more on the side of the Incredible Hulk.
He
now.
texted me after he
It's
watched
fine.
it, and he goes,
I don't have a problem with that movie.
Incredible Hulk was way better than I thought it was.
I haven't watched it in a long time, and it's
That
better than
fight-
a number of other MCU movies.
fight
Did you
at
hear
the
that
end.
they're supposedly not done with General Ross and Abomination?
Well, he was alive at the end.
Ross was at Star
He
Killer.
was
That's right.
he was
That's
alive
right.
at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's gonna wrap it up for part 2 of the spoiler discussion. If you have not listened to part 1 yet, you can check us out there. That was Brian, myself, and Jacob on that one.
Check back in for parts 8 and 9.
Yeah, we're gonna do like 5 or 6 more of these. Who knows?
man.
But
We could.
yeah, we have a number of other videos coming out as well on a various number of topics, including Captain America, box office, the choice of deaths in the movie. Check those out on the channel. You'll see those in the coming days as well. So again, thank you for joining us on this spoiler discussion. Thank you to Gio, Brian, and Keith for joining me as well. This one was definitely fun. I love hearing you guys' thoughts on this, so it was a lot of fun. I'm glad we were able to do this and kind of get together for it. So again, check out apocalypsemovies.com, this YouTube channel, and look out for our stuff on iTunes. We're having some stuff on iTunes now, monthly shows, the Padawan podcast on there, and these spoiler discussions will go up there as well, so you can listen to those via iTunes. So again, thank you for joining us on this today. We'll see you guys next time, and I'll say it just for the video: Avengers Assemble.